We're recording because I want to talk about Josh
We
Carr.
are recording now.
Oh, because the Josh Carr bit was lame and boring.
Welcome to We Are Libertarians. My name is Chris Spangle. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and I have no idea what episode number this is. We've got our good friend Nick in from Philly. We've got the lovely Miranda here, and we've got Harry. All that after this break. I've got everything so loud, no one can hear anything, including myself, so we'll be right back. All right. Welcome to the show. Let me turn this down. My name is Chris Spangle, as you heard. I'm the host of this here podcast.
This here.
Very, very excited to be back. Harry Price, my co-host, is here. Harry, how are you?
Going good, going good.
When was the last time you and I podcasted together?
Been almost a month since I was the last time I went to California. Oh wow, yeah, it's been almost
I know.
2.5 weeks.
Feels like forever. And our guest Nick, in from Philadelphia, we're not mentioning his last name because he doesn't want
witness protection program.
right. He doesn't want to be associated with us.
Yeah, nobody does.
That is Maranda Barnett. Miranda, how are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just turning your mic up so everybody can hear your lovely
Hear
voice.
me.
And then Nick, you are in from Philadelphia. You've been a long-time listener since when?
2015, 2014?
2014?
Right after your divorce?
Like during...
Yes.
Like,
Sorry.
No. It's okay. He got here.
We all liked him better after that.
Yeah,
I didn't know him before.
Here's the thing.
he became cool.
Nick showed up 20 minutes early. No, almost 30 minutes early.
Yeah, apparently you don't have traffic in Indianapolis.
Which is hilarious because he got here and he goes, "Hey, the doorbell rang at 6:20," and I was like, "Oh man, I haven't cleaned the toilet yet."
That's okay.
Yeah, so I've cleaned it now. So feel free to go to the restroom, Miranda. There's no
I was going to judge you, but it's fine.
There's no AIDS in there. I've cleaned it all up. Nick, you were surprised that Indianapolis does not have traffic.
I looked on Google Maps and it said 15 minutes, and I was like, I'll give it a good half hour because there's probably rush hour traffic. And no, it's 14 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
So,
No, Google Maps gives you the accurate time.
Yeah. And here's the thing that people don't realize about like Indianapolis. Like Harry every week is like, oh, there's so much traffic to get here. But like you're from Philadelphia. What's traffic like in Philly?
It takes me about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to get to work.
How far is the commute? 3 miles?
No, I actually commute from about it's about a 40-mile commute because my family is in the Lehigh Valley, so
Okay.
we're happy there, and so my wife's happy there. But I gotta travel.
Yeah. Which we live where my wife wants. She's happy, which means
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
Yes.
She works about 5 minutes down the road, and we're in a good school district, so
That's all that matters.
that's right.
Harry, I believe that you owe our... Now, Nick was so nice. He showed up. He said, what's the best pizza place by you? I said, hands down, it's Brozini's. You just sampled the pizza. How was it, Miranda?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was like a meat party in my mouth.
It was
Wow.
a meat lover's pizza. Do you have girls like Miranda in Philadelphia?
More than you can count.
I'm a basic bitch.
No, you're not. You're very
I'm
special.
pretty
You're very
much.
special. And, he showed up. He's like, I want to do something nice for the cast of We Are Libertarians. I've been a longtime fan of the show.
Fanboy.
I want to... He walked in. He immediately went, wow. I can't believe this is in your apartment. Is
Yeah.
that accurate?
Aw. Well, thank you for the pizza. I didn't
You're
even
welcome.
know. That was
And
so
Thank you
kind.
for
also
the
beer
pizza.
back there too.
I'm trying to not be fatter than I already am.
You
But
look lovely.
thanks. I was nurturing an eating disorder, but that pizza broke me.
She. That's not funny, Harry. And it is good. Go have a second piece.
I will at some point, but I'm not going to stuff my face in front of everyone without a donation to the We Are Libertarians.
Yes,
PayPal.
trust me, Patreon's taken a hit the last 2 months, which we'll get to why. But we're
Just send cash.
so. What was it like when you walked in for the first time to the glamorous We Are Libertarian Studios?
It was surreal. It's like I've been listening to this podcast for the past 5 years, and I finally met my hero. So it's like
Miranda.
Mittens?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes, Miranda.
He did ask where Greg was. I was like, funny story.
About that.
I had a single tear.
He
so.
he said, "Where's Greg at? Can I talk to him?" I said, "I don't think he has my number."
They don't have phones in hell.
So now we take a nice tack towards our former co-host.
Yeah,
Miranda.
no, I just, you know me, I just like to be a smartass when I can. It was actually nothing personal. I saw him at my gym recently. I didn't say hi or anything,
Right.
but I also didn't burn him down, so it's fine.
That's growth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of you.
But
have growth.
if I saw my former roommate, ex-friend,
Oh yes,
be another story.
the cause.
Oh, yeah.
I like to call her the cause.
It would be like Girl Fight 2019. But it wouldn't be that much of a fight because it'd just be me whipping someone's ass.
So many.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, isn't it weird when you meet somebody? Now, who's your hero? Let me just ask.
Oh my gosh.
Is
You
it-
want me to say you?
I mean, you don't have to say me.
Oh, okay.
Say it. I want to hear it.
I mean, you and Dave Smith are probably the two podcasts that I really got into when I became a libertarian. So
Oh, that's so nice.
that's yeah.
I was hoping for comedic purposes you were going to say Harry, but but isn't it funny when you meet somebody? So I've listened to a ton of radio, ton of podcasts, and you meet somebody that you've listened to for a long time. Like I had this with Mark Clare. Like Mark and I have been good friends for a long time. Everyone should listen to the Lions of Liberty podcast, as well as the Johnny Rockets Blast Off podcast,
Not as good.
Lava Flow with
Not as good.
Roger Paxton. We love those guys. We support their podcast and ask everybody to listen to their shows. But I met Mark Clare for the first time, and the noise coming out of his face sounded familiar, but the face from which it was coming really seemed odd to me. And I've had that experience with a lot of people before. Like, was it weird when you walked in and I started talking and you heard my voice, but you put a face to it for the first time?
You're actually a human being.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah. Which I don't play one on the internet, so I see why that's weird. So
And his hair has more volume in person too
true.
than you're used
Very
to looking
impressive.
at.
And the
Yeah.
beard.
isn't my hair a work of art?
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is.
Almost as good as Donald Trump's.
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Well, here's the thing, Nick. You've listened for a long time. I used to be really ugly.
No.
I'm just ugly now.
You were just chunkier before, but now you're just a beautiful work of art.
Thank you. I was very obese, 330 pounds.
Yeah, you look great now.
Had a buzz cut,
That was not good hair.
bad glasses.
No
Yeah,
beard.
bad glasses, no beard.
You met me at my hot. We met when we
Yeah.
first met Harry. I was a very high, very fat.
Yeah, and yeah, there was that
Now you're
YAL
just a
conference,
sexy man.
super nerdy.
Yeah.
I think Galt was pulling more chicks at that time. So yeah,
Aw.
it was awful.
Yeah. So Harry
Same
owes
shoes.
Harry was very rude to you, Nick. Now
Not that rude.
he was rude.
We had a nice conversation in the car.
I know, but before that, he was rude, right?
Ew, what'd he do?
Admit it. He was very rude to you. He was. So here's the thing: like people think that the act between Harry and I, where we get on each other's nerves, is for the air. It's not. We really do get on each other's nerves this much.
First off, I don't know what you're talking about.
Harry's legitimately in the top 5 of my best friends. I love Harry to pieces, but we fight like an old married couple, don't we, Nick?
I simply
Yeah.
came in, put my back down, and then orders started coming at me.
It wasn't orders. It was, can you do me a favor? Our guest came from Philadelphia. He's been up since 3. He ordered us pizza. Will you take him to the liquor store and get the pizza that he ordered for us? And you proceeded to give me a ration of shit for 10 minutes, and he felt like so uncomfortable. And and I had a guest here, and they look at me and they go, Harry was kidding, but Harry made him feel like he had created a serious problem. And I go, I know. So I'd like you to publicly apologize to Nick for making him feel unwelcome.
First off, you could have caused a huge problem. Luckily for you, I filled up beforehand. I thought about coming on here on a little bit of gas and had a little bit of gas to get home. So you're welcome that I filled up for gas.
Thank you, Harry.
Second, I actually recently cleaned out and upgraded my current Subaru, so I actually had room to accommodate another passenger and a pizza.
Harry
you're
has
welcome.
a beautiful 2010 Subaru Forester. Any lesbian would be lucky to take a ride in that. Nick, I mean,
Yes.
you clearly love women
Yes.
and are a man, but
Yes.
did you not feel extra
It was good. I like the Subaru. It's a massive sunroof.
Yeah, the sunroof
Massive
is
sunroof.
huge in it.
will you take Miranda on a ride so she can stand up in the sunroof and shout, yeah, like Clueless?
That's what
Yes.
that sunroof is meant for.
OMG.
You could fit 4
That-
Mirandas in that sunroof.
Oh my God. God love you for
it's-
that.
It's massive.
Well,
Sorry.
well, we don't have to do,
Just stop
leave
with the,
it. Yeah,
stop
yeah.
with the compliments while you're ahead, Nick.
But yeah. Oh my God. How'd you know that was my favorite movie?
Just something told me in your voice. I don't know. Your whole life, maybe, trying to
So true.
be Elisa Silverstone. I don't know.
Yes.
But Harry, I think you owe him a public apology.
All right. But
From-
you're
Look him
welcome
in the
for that.
eye.
First off, I apologize that Chris Spangle, dear leader, did not pre-plan and forewarn me about any of this before I got here so I could prepare myself
Nick?
for all these other things I had to do to show up a podcast.
Nick, how many times did I call Harry before he got here?
Twice. Right in a row.
Is that true, Harry?
Yes, he did call me twice. After I was on the road, and picking up a phone while driving is dangerous.
To be fair, Harry being rude is like people in the East Coast being polite.
What?
So
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
So what he's saying is you're such an asshole here, but in Philadelphia you just be a nice dude.
it's people being nice in Philadelphia. Yes.
Yeah, I'll admit, most of my family's from Boston, so I get it.
It's not even being rude.
Former slavers, Nick.
Oh.
It's not even a joke, Miranda. Yeah.
It's not.
You move that mic closer to you if you'd like to. That way we can hear your reaction shots.
Okay. I'll get closer.
It's not. And I remember was talking it over from the Ugandan guy at work that I hired. He's like, "Oh, me too." We both bonded on it. It was great. But yeah, I didn't realize how bad I was at sometimes until I was in a competition at work, and they were like, "Who's most likely in the office to use a dig as a compliment?" It's Harry, and it voted unanimously. And I got that reward for it. I was like, "Oh, come on." Terrible.
Speaking of the office, I got a text from James Nease, your employee. Miranda, you've made love to James, right?
Oh, just over the internet.
Okay. And he said, ask Harry tonight why he hates when I eat chicken wings with ranch dressing in the server room.
Oh, no. I'm glad he's called it the server because he kept calling it the wings room. So we were doing this server migration at work, right? And Nease has just been working weird hours, and I could barely get a hold of him. He doesn't want to get on video cam. It's all just like video and it's all just audio and text chats.
Nease is sort of like one of those movies. What's the scary movie with the camera in the bedroom and the goblins are like paranormal activity.
There we go, yeah.
Nease like scampers across the screen every once in a while.
Yeah, just.
But I'm like, isn't that classic Nease behavior?
Right.
Yeah, so I decided to do a welfare check and go to the warehouse and check on Nease just to make sure he's okay.
I.e. still working.
Yeah, I go to his office, I drop stuff off, he's not there, no one has seen him. So I start getting worried, because it's so hot in the warehouse, he could pass out and be trapped somewhere, walking around, don't see anything, right? So I eventually
This is a grown man that he is worried about passing out just because he doesn't take care of himself.
it's Nease.
I know, but he drinks so many 48-ounce glasses of Mountain Dew a day
Right. Exactly.
out of a styrofoam cup, bruh.
Yeah.
That he's not properly hydrated. So you're worried that a server room, by the way, you're in IT, correct, Nick?
No,
Okay.
not even close.
All right.
That's okay.
Let's assume he is.
Let's assume you are. You've been in a server room, right?
Yes.
All right, let's say you have. How cold is it generally in a server room?
I don't know, but I'm guessing freezing.
It's very cold because you have to keep all the computers. Miranda, have you been in a server room before?
No, not a large one. I had a small one at Marriott. We had a small little server like closet.
Yeah, a closet. But you generally want a fan and an air conditioner in there to keep it cool. He's so dehydrated all the time that you're worried he's going to pass out while he's working.
Correct. So I go into there, because I first get worried because the door is just wide freaking open, right? And when I get close, and all you hear is
Like a
It's that
gremlin.
noise.
Oh my god!
Maybe a server's got a bad fan or
I turn the corner, and there he is, hunched over with his hoodie down, just sitting there with his wings, just French dressing going everywhere. And when he finally noticed me, he gets over it like a possum, like, this is my garbage. Back off. I was like, and he's like, what are you doing in my wing cave? I was like, it's a server room.
wing cave.
So intense.
Let's see if we can get him on the phone here. Let me see if I call him because this will just be better if we can talk to him directly, clear the air.
Yes.
Just glad he had pants on.
Oh my god! That's surprising at this point.
Yeah.
This isn't going to cooperate, is it?
It's sometimes it's off because like the company we work at, like he's able to get. He doesn't really have to leave there because there's like everything and he needs to live. The company kind of makes, so he doesn't have to leave, and that's the problem. Because he just like, if I just need a shirt, pants, just go right there.
So
man.
he
Just
steals, is what you're saying. he's stealing.
No, you could just buy it. Like he when I found the worst thing I ever did was show him how to make how to buy a cup. And then he purchased and made himself. I'll let him show you his Starbucks cup.
What kind of cup?
That he made? I'll let him show you the cup that he made.
Making a Starbucks cup?
Yeah, I'll let you show him. Next time you're next to him, ask him about the cup he made. He brought it to Liberty too. If you guys came on Fridays, you would have seen the cup. It's a pretty neat cup. Made Paul drink coffee out of it.
You guys don't have headphones, do you? Miranda does.
Yeah.
Share with your brother, Nick, there. We'll see if he answers.
We put our heads together.
I don't think he's going to
I don't
answer.
have
He's
the
probably
headphones.
playing some video game right now.
Or working.
past that.
Or working.
There's no way he's working.
Yeah, it is. Do you not?
I bet if we call on Discord, he'll answer.
Probably. This is the first time I ever had to like tell an employee, "Hey, can you stop working? Can you go home?"
Why
home.
does he work? How long does he work?
He said
Just
he's there all the
doesn't
time.
go home.
Why?
I had to get the old Mexican lady to tell him to go home. They go, no, you go home. You go, and they just push him out the door.
Does your company support that kind of overtime?
Is he Sungor?
His salary, and it's like,
Oh.
and when I did it, I was like,
You work too hard, James.
Hey, is he Sungor?
who? What?
James on Discord.
No. You
Oh, okay. All right. Let's
try-
see here. Yeah, no, I'm trying to dox him for sure. You guys keep talking.
Doxed
Talk
him.
amongst yourself.
Yeah. But anyway, he's his joy to work for. He does well with everyone else at the company who like loves popping caffeine pills and working like 14 to 16-hour days.
He
What
does
kind
what?
of caffeine pills?
As far as I know, they're caffeine pills, and they work 14, 16-hour days, which our HR department hates and try to make sure people work in legal limits.
Yeah, truck drivers can't even stay on the road that long.
Right.
I know, like, eventually there's going to be something to, like, coders and IT techs to stop them from, like, almost like logging how many hours they work so they don't go over hours. Because that's probably how all bad code is written. It's just that coder, he's on 16 hours, and he just keeps going because he sees the deadline. Like, I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to keep going.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave this up just in case James calls us. We'll answer. Now,
Just in case Escala Ja Plus jumps in, though.
nah, we don't need to talk to Paul Copeland.
Doxing.
I don't know why it's so funny to dox Paul and Reinhold specifically.
Good, yeah.
So because they're good sports, that's why. Let's see. Miss Pat's calling. Miss Pat's called like 5 times today.
You're not gonna pick her up on the.
No, I can't. Although
Oh,
if I
yeah,
did, it'd be
okay.
really funny.
It would be funny, but yeah. Sorry.
I will talk about. See, I had
You have to bleep her name, actually.
no, not at all. Miss Pat. Miss Pat is. We'll talk about Miss Pat in a moment. I want to say, Miranda, you don't have headphones on, but lie. How good does Harry sound on the podcast right now?
So good.
Like the best you've ever heard him, right?
Yeah, it was very Barry White, deep baritone.
Now Harry's a bit of a mumbler.
I'm what?
Are you unaware of this?
I am unaware of this.
So Harry, you sound crystal clear and beautiful today.
Oh, nice.
When you told that James Nease story, everyone felt like they were there seeing Gollum in the flesh as he was hiding in the server room going, "My chicken." But you sound great because Jason Doolittle sent a beautiful microphone, very expensive, very nice. I'd like to eventually upgrade all of our mics up to that, but so he sent that so we could upgrade it for you first. Here's the difference.
So you're gonna steal it in 2 weeks?
No. I want to see. Here's how I sound on my mic, and here's how I sound on this one. So,
Oh, wow.
you see how different I sound on this
Yeah.
one?
So different.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Yeah, this is because I have this. See, Miranda, I have this one tuned for extra bass, so I don't sound like "Hi guys" like I do in real life. When you walked in, Nick, were you surprised at how high my voice is?
No, you sound like a man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, tell someone that.
Yeah.
You don't have to lie for it.
But thank you to Jason Doolittle for going to our Amazon wish list and sending that microphone.
Usually I cannot hear the difference when you pull up some really weird sound device and like, hey, this is going to make it sound different.
Yeah.
This, I can actually hear the difference.
Yeah, if you were to talk into Miranda's mic, Harry, let's do a sound
do it.
difference here. Just pull that out, Miranda. Go ahead.
Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
All right, now, go ahead.
Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yes, so it's much clearer. So thank you to Jason Doolittle for sending that off of our Amazon wish list. Thank you to Ed Brehop. I'm thanking intern Ed first, and I'm thanking him twice because I accidentally remember. I don't know if you were here. I think it was Reinhold. I think I forgot Christy Avery to thank her. It was Ed. I forgot to thank Ed. So I apologize, Ed. He had the best time calling me and punking me out and going, I'm very upset. And he totally got me because he's so dry. I love intern Ed. Jason Doolittle, Ed, Jason, they support us at $100 a month. Same with Memerty Libs, the Libertarian Coalition, Christy Avery, and Craig DaCosta. Thank you guys for supporting us. Let's go into the $25 a month folks and thank them this month. Andrew Bowman, who's one of the funniest people I know. Paul Jonathan Eads Jr., Ryan Lindsay, who has done a great job with the new We Are Libertarians magazine, the Wall Reader. We'll talk about that in a moment. Liberty Memes, the Liberty Memes supports us at $25 a month. Ray Wolf, Mario E., Rob Place, Reinhold, Catherine Iverson, Richard, Jacob Castoreno, the Liberty Extract, Michael Schulteis, Joshua Sexton, Jacob Klingensmith, Eric Neff, Rick Irvine, Joey Turner, Carly Ernst, Brandon Kester, Dan Dunbar, Christopher Brokoff, and our good friend Todd. And thank you to Nick for being a $10 a month subscriber to our Patreon.
Used to be 25.
That's okay. That's all
Sorry.
right. That's fine. We understand. Things sometimes have to change.
My wife was like, well, why are you giving $25 to the libertarians when you can't give $25 to our church? And I was like,
Oh, well. That's because we're going...
you're doing God's work still.
I can't even argue with her. So I understand, and I thank you for all the
I'm sorry.
contributions over the years.
Public
Nick,
apology.
you've done a great job of supporting us, and you've been around for a long time and a solid shit poster in our Facebook group.
Used to be.
That's
a solid
why
shit
that
poster.
name looked familiar.
Used to be a
Okay.
solid shit poster.
Okay, me
Yeah.
too. I had to calm
Never-
down.
yeah.
Gave up Facebook about a year ago, and I'm much happier for it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I only use it for Messenger, just
Yeah,
because my wife complains to me while she's at work, so
There you go.
I have to be on it.
Stay out. Isn't it great and freeing?
You realize
It
these
is.
these mics are on, and she will hear that.
Yeah.
But he didn't say he didn't like it.
Exactly.
He just said that's what happened.
That's right. He loves hearing her complain, right?
That's
Nick?
right.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
why he keeps it on. He's there for her, team player.
That's true.
So
No, you got to shut that down. You can't let them complain. You got to shut that down.
We do what we want.
I love
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm
I love you, Daddy.
not gonna let you complain. Not happening.
I do what I want.
So let's start with the WAL reader. There's a couple things that I sometimes neglect to plug, especially on the big show here, and I want to make sure that I do that. First is the great job that Hody Johns is doing with our debate series. And if you go back in the feed, you can listen to the Libertarian Party candidates debate. This is the first time anybody in the Libertarian Party history has done anything like this. We are talking to all of the Libertarian Party candidates for president that are willing to participate in some of these debates. We'll talk about in a little bit. It's given me great insight on who I'm not voting for. But nobody has ever brought this kind of information. And, you know, even if you wouldn't vote for some of these people, it has been a great exercise intellectually in hearing different perspectives on issues like healthcare, macroeconomics, and many other things. So Hody has done a fantastic job doing something that nobody has ever done in the history of libertarian media, which is a year out from the convention, doing several debates, talking to the candidates, giving you as much information as possible. We have reached out to all the Republican and Democratic candidates, including the president himself, and only libertarians accepted the invitation of a brand called We Are Libertarians, weirdly, but we appreciate Hody putting in that work, so make sure you go check that out. You can watch it on our YouTube channel, you can watch it on our Facebook as they're aired live, or you can listen in the podcast feed. So those are great. And then Ryan Lindsay started WAL Reader, WAL Reader. You can get that in Kindle. You can get it by essentially looking up, on Facebook, WAL Reader. And it is a new magazine by We Are Libertarians that Ryan put together. When I said months ago, Harry, we talked about how, listen, do whatever you think is best for libertarianism and use the We Are Libertarian platform. If there's something you want to try, then do it. I've put no effort into building the magazine other than he being polite and just saying, here it is in advance. What do you think of this? And I looked it over and said, this looks amazing. This looks really, I'm proud of you. It looks good. And, the way that I handle my contributors is I let them do what they think is best. I say to Hody and Sarah, Brady Wagner, and Reinhold, and Paul Copeland, and Dale is the exception. Dale's new, so we have to monitor his behavior a little bit. But if you contribute to We Are Libertarians, I try to make sure that you get to a certain standard. But at the same time, when it comes to content, there's a lot of stuff that Reinhold and Sarah, Brady, and Wagner and I disagree on. And Tad Western and Dennis fight all the time. It doesn't matter, though. We're all friends at the end of the day. We all support each other in We Are Libertarians, and we're always looking for contributors for the magazine, to blog on the website, to contribute to the dailies, to podcast, whatever you'd like to do. And our research team, we have a great research team that has been a lifesaver for me for the last few months. But in the first issue, Ryan allowed a libertarian socialist to basically write a what is a libsoc, basically. So you hear more and more about this, and so I think people don't really have an understanding of what a libertarian socialist means. And so one of principle number 6 of ours is intellectual diversity here at We Are Libertarians, and he decided to give them a platform, which one guy this Patrick guy just went off the rails about, calling us all communist. And it's so funny that in a podcast with 555 episodes in our RSS feed, about 10 or 12 different podcasts that we've had on the network over the years, at least 50 co-hosts from all the way from violent anarchists like Maya to Buckley conservatives like Lenz, to anarchists like Harry. You're an anarchist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to see. He's so anarchist, he won't label himself that sometimes. To constitutional, cultural conservatives like Brian Nichols, Gina, who is fairly Democrat, So what we try to do at We Are Libertarians is give you a broad perspective of the libertarian movement and its thought from a group of friends who enjoy being around each other and enjoy talking about these things. We have a group chat that is basically like a writer's room that's just a continuing dialogue between us all. And sometimes it gets a little tense, and sometimes it gets a little heated, and then, and we just really try to bring you a broad perspective. And so we think that you are adults, and that what we say is not the truth, or is not what you ought to believe outright, is a better way to phrase it. We talk, you hear us, and then you decide what you think is true or not. You fact check us. We provide, I don't think there is a podcast in the world that provides more show notes than we do. If you ever go and look at our show notes, they're 25 pages long. We cite every source that we give on the show most of the time. And we've done that for almost a year now. Nick, you've listened for a long time. I mean, in terms of the show from where it was, this is literally the first show I have not prepared for in maybe 2 years. And we had some notes, but I just felt like talking tonight. We've got Maranda here, who's hilarious and fun to talk to. Harry's fun to talk to. Nick, you're nice.
Thank
you. But, in terms of where the show was and where the show is now in terms of citing sources and sort of depth, I mean, talk about the difference between then and now.
The show years ago used to just be shitposting.
Right.
Just a shitpost-a-thon, and now it's like almost listening to a radio show where it's kind of organized and in depth, and you kind of have your segments that you want to do. So it's really grown over the past 5 years.
Yeah,
gotten a lot more professional.
Thank you.
Even though we say bad words.
Yes. Well, that's the point. Is we still want to be irreverent. We still want to be fun. We still want you to feel like you're sitting around the kitchen table or at a party listening to friends talk about politics. But at the same time, I was very proud of one of our contributors who got in the group the other day and said, I was at a party and they were talking politics, and then I just started whipping out facts and arguments that I've heard on We Are Libertarians over the last year or two, and I really was so prepared to talk to my friends about certain things because of this show. And that's exactly what we want. It's why our tagline now has gone from all the irreverence modern politics deserves to we help you sound smarter with your friends. And it's because we give you a lot of information, but at the same time, we do it in a fun way, and we try to give you a lot of different perspectives. We've talked to Matt Cano, we've talked to Mike Shipley, we've talked to these libertarian socialist guys, and it's not because we agree with them, it's because they are controversial, and a lot of people are talking to them, and we want to understand them and be informed when we're talking to people about these people. It's the same with Arvin Vora or Ben Letter or some of these guys who are in the presidential debates. I personally would not vote for any of them. Pretty much all of the guys who are in the presidential debates, the guys specifically, I would not vote for if they were on the ballot. But I'm willing to give them a platform to talk about their candidacy because you might not agree with me. Mm-hmm. If you're a listener, you may not agree with me personally. There's things that are put out in some of the dailies that I personally don't agree with. And it's the same with our magazine. It's going to be the same with anything that We Are Libertarians does because we think you're adults. And too often in the libertarian movement, it is a lot of people who want you to think like they think. They want to tell you how to think, and they don't trust you to make the right decision, so we need to tell you how you ought to think. I mean, am I wrong, Harry?
Yeah, it's majority of a lot of the podcasts do that. They just try to this is the word that we're going to concentrate. This is what we're thinking about today, and this is what we're all doing. Right. That is one of the benefits of being with the WAL group is that there's so many different minds, different things to talk to. Because not every day that I agree with Reinhold. Most of the time I do. There's a lot of things I do disagree with him on, you know? And it's, it sucks, but, it is.
I think like
But-
Reinhold and Sarah specifically, like when we're in the group chat, there's a lot of times where Sarah and Reinhold are on the other side of issues, and it turns out to be a lot of issues. I won't go into detail on some of those issues, but I think Sarah specifically, Sarah Brady Wagner, is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. I think Reinhold is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. And I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who need to be challenged by their way of thinking. I don't want to build an audience that thinks just like me. I want to build an audience that hears somebody like Sarah or Dennis talk and go, oh, I think like them. I learned that with you, Harry. I learned when you started doing the Tuesday shows with me because, like, Greg and I were always very similar. Creighton and Galt and I were always very similar. And it was always kind of like us agreeing with each other. And we were always very similar in terms of what we found interesting or what we kind of thought and what we talked about. But when you became my Tuesday host, I started, and you started the Discord, I started to see a lot of people pop up that were talking about like things like anime and video games and like Dungeons and Dragons and World of Warcraft and like stuff that I would never in a million years talk about or find interesting. The Gamergate stuff I couldn't have cared less about. But
it was very important.
But all of the sudden, I saw a group of people that identified with you come into the community. And it was very important for me at that point to realize I need to give a lot more people a voice, even if I don't personally always agree with them. Even if it's somebody that is a libertarian socialist, they are a topic of conversation in our movement, and they deserve to at least be understood in an accurate way.
Yeah.
And not in the way that Joshua Smith or some of these other guys talk about these guys. They intentionally demonize those guys to build their own brand, their own base, and they will misrepresent what they believe. They will scream at them because they just don't. They're socialists. How can you be a socialist? Like when you actually talk to these guys, their arguments all fall apart, and you really don't agree with them. So what more do you need? Do you need to demonize people to really find them disagreeable? And so that's why we started the dailies. We wanted to.
Well, that's another thing. When you boil it down, most people, like, the main reason people have a problem with socialism is the force part and the violence part.
Right.
If that's not there, then what do you got?
Hey, let's take a break real quick.
Apparently, we're taking a break.
Oh.
Red light's still on, though.
Hey, Miss Pat. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey there. What do you mean? I was coming tomorrow night.
Are they like Biff's name?
I would love to, but I'm not going to be done for like another hour and a half. It'll be like 11 o'clock before I got there. So I'd love to, but all right. Do you know you peed on yourself? All right. I'll talk to you later. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a misunderstanding. I was like concerned. I was like, oh shit. Did I fuck up? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Good old Miss Pat.
I love her so much. Oh, I turned the mics off. I thought I turned it off, but I apparently did not turn off the YouTube.
I kept saying, like, red light.
Oh, boy.
Red light.
Right.
Red light.
That's fine. I didn't say anything that was embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, Costco.
Yes.
Oh, those are two happy
My wife
girls.
just sent me a picture of the kids.
Aw.
Very cute.
Aw.
They're adorable.
He has very cute kids.
We're going to have more.
All right. So,
Oh, great! I'm just chewing away.
yes, the Bullfrog 89. You had to stop because I was concerned. I thought there was an emergency. There was almost an emergency.
The bullfrog. 89.
This is a podcast, which means we can cut out the parts that are not live. Okay, guys.
First off, the Subaru Forester is not the most depressing of Subarus. Okay, first off, the Subaru Forester is built on the exact same frame as the WRX. Okay, now granted, is it too high in the air? Yes, center of gravity is very high.
Whoever this bullfrog is.
Now, the other thing is
All right, so back to what we were talking about. So we published an article in the first edition of The Reader about what libertarian socialism is, not because we want you to become libertarian socialists, but because we think that you can understand what a libertarian socialist is and not become one and make up your own mind about it. So there's just this one guy and a couple people who have just been really upset about this. But here's the thing. We Are Libertarians stands for intellectual diversity. I would publish something from an actual socialist if I felt that it was relevant to your life. I would have on, and I will have on at some points, Democrats, Republicans. We have had those people on in the past. I mean, Gina Martinez was a co-host, and she was pretty much a Democrat. And the function that Gina played in 2013 when she was a co-host was a great one. And I think they were some of the strongest episodes in our history because we had a young liberal-leaning female voice on the show who played the voice of the audience, who said, "Wait a minute, all right, don't get too deep on this. I don't understand what you're talking about." And she would have Greg and I argue with her and kind of articulate our perspectives in a better way because you had the voice of the audience going, "Wait." So that is why we published the article. I would love for you to go to Kindle. It does cost something because there's a publishing fee on Kindle, and we're trying to recoup the cost. There are physical magazines that you can order. I think it's wallreader.com. Let me double-check the website. I should have... knew I was going to talk about this.
I miss Gina.
I do too. Gina is awesome. I saw her in January. She's doing fantastic. So she's really doing great. So... now, I mean, Nick, when you hear that we publish something like a libertarian socialist in the magazine, and this guy went in a bunch of groups and used all of his pages that had 2,000 likes and nobody saw to say, avoid We Are Libertarians because they're a bunch of impure assholes. And the problem with this is that people never go read the article. They never listen to our explanation. They only see what they see on Facebook. They never click any links. They never want an explanation. They just want to say, well, I heard that one time on a Facebook page that this is that thing. But when you hear the explanation, you go, that makes sense. I mean, in your mind, am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, We Are Libertarians is very diverse. I think what really drew me in and kept me listening was you're a bunch of normal people. You're not a bunch of autistic people that...
We say that affectionately. We say that meaning that we try to not be offensive. Please.
Sorry. But it's very real. I mean, these are people that I've listened to that I feel like I've met in my own life instead of people that just sit on the internet and talk about theoretical ideas that have never contributed to society. So
Very pretentious.
yes.
Right. Yeah, I think, Miranda, you're one of the realest people that I know, and I think like you fit in so well. But I think one of the great things about like the We Are Libertarians group is that we're all a broad, diverse group of people with different backgrounds, and I think that if you just from the surface met Miranda or Harry or me, you'd go, I'm not going to talk to that person. But this podcast has given us a way to engage with each other, people from different backgrounds, and we found a lot that we appreciate about each other.
Right. Together we have learned we are basically all one.
Right.
One group of, fucked up people.
Yeah.
Because that's really everybody's fucked up. It's just, again, we're just okay with it.
Well, you were on the last time you were on, we talked, and that's WALreader.com, by the way. That's where you can get the magazine. Please subscribe. Get your copy now. Miranda, you were last on our domestic violence episode talking about your story, and the feedback that I heard from that was amazing. I wondered what feedback you got. I heard from so many people. I got a great message from somebody the next day going, the whole episode was about what are the warning signs, what are the milestones that you see on the road to domestic violence and trafficking, human trafficking. And I had someone say, I think my friend's wife is in trouble. I've been in places, I've heard from people, I've been in places like Miranda was. It was so great to hear I'm not alone.
Yeah, I thought that was just really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it definitely made me feel very good that, sharing my story actually made a difference to someone. I just kind of expected to just be a part of the conversation, and that was it. And I really didn't think about really, affecting other people's lives like that. So that kind of made me feel good, because when you go through such crazy stuff, it's nice to at least have, I've helped someone or maybe prevented something down the line. So there's something that comes from it.
Yeah.
And actually, Lael, I'm in contact with her, so I'm going to the victims meeting at the prosecutor's office on Thursday, and I may speak, I'm not sure, but she said that they actually just had a case come across their office of someone being poisoned, and it was like the exact same symptoms and things that I went through.
Wow.
So, it's just crazy. It happens, more than we would like to think, so...
Yeah, some of those episodes that are titled "The Cost" are tough, Harry.
Yes.
But that's the real life stuff that, like, what I want to do with this show, and I guess this episode's kind of a state of the state, because there's some things that I need to talk about in the next segment about what's going on in my life. But part of why we do this show is to give you people to connect with on a real level. Mm-hmm. And that means that, yes, there is the fun stuff. Yes, there's the intellectual stuff, but there's also the really shitty stuff that happens in life. How do we navigate through that? How does the government hurt people? How does government policy really truly affect people? We're going to talk about Game of Thrones next week.
I was going to say, can we at least touch on that?
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But I think the whole last night's episode or 2 nights ago was. Like, the whole theme of Game of Thrones is best illustrated. It's a great illustration of how power hurts innocent people and destroys not just innocent lives, but also the people that are in the process of trying to wield that power. And I think that's something that has been a consistent theme on not just this libertarian podcast, but on most libertarian podcasts, is that by trying to use government force, you not only corrupt the soul of the person using the force, but the innocent people that are hurt in the process. All right.
I don't watch
For me,
that
it just
show.
related a lot more to my life, but...
Go ahead. I mean, related to your life.
Well, honestly, okay, I love Khaleesi. I have been a fan, and so some people are trying to disown her now. But personally, it's only... tied our stories closer in together.
Really?
Well, yeah, because again, hello, we're both America's sweetheart for one. But so let's just look at it. Let's look at the parallel lines here.
Tell you
This
what,
girl.
do you think you can come next Tuesday?
Yeah.
All right, you, me, Galt. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones.
Okay.
How about that?
I am Khaleesi. Just throw
Full
that out there.
spoilers.
All right, perfect.
But yeah, we are one.
So
So
yeah,
you're doing that
let's
next
cover it
Tuesday?
next week.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
You doing that next Tuesday?
Yes. Do
But
you
I
not want to
also-
come?
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I'll be
So
sitting
what?
there.
You're gonna
Okay.
learn. We gonna teach you something.
If you don't want to come next week, you don't have to, Harry.
I just don't know anything about Game of
fine.
Thrones. That's all. I just don't watch the show.
We're mostly going to talk about government power and how it hurts people.
And how I'm Khaleesi. Maybe I'll wear my white wig. Oh my God, I'm totally doing it. Who am I fooling? That's happening. So you want to see the wig or not? That's all I'm saying.
What's a Khaleesi?
It's a badass princess.
It's a
Okay.
name that people gave to their child and now are regretting. So,
As I say, keep it. Who is upset about that? I'm sorry, but who amongst us ladies hasn't lost their shit and wanted to burn everything down? Be honest. Sorry. I'll be there.
I mean,
It's an unpopular opinion, but here it is.
I
I've
mean,
threatened to burn many people's house down.
genocide is. You know, there was just never mind.
Don't rise up against me.
There was one guy standing. Man, she must be on her period.
There was like blood falling from this guy.
All right, I apologize
was.
to all the lady listeners.
Why? It's not your fault we have a period. You
not.
didn't do it to us.
No, that's right. You guys ate the apple.
It's all right. We do what we want.
Everybody got.
We do what we want.
You're all gonna hang me out to dry.
Yes, we are.
Hey, I'm
because
on board.
You used that creation story. Anyways.
So yes, what we want to do is something different than a lot of people do. We want to give you people that you can relate to. I think that's one thing that is different about this podcast, that is special about this podcast. It doesn't mean that we're always the most intellectual. It doesn't mean that we're always the most normal. It doesn't mean that we're always the most pure. But I am personally, anytime somebody is absolutely, the Dear Leader character is somebody that I play. I am in real life someone who is very uncertain, very unsure. I mean, I think most libertarians, if they're being honest, some days you're a conservative constitutionalist, and then some days you're a Glenn Greenwald liberal fighting against war. Then the next day you're just an anarchist that wants to see you're a collapsitarian. Then the day after that you're a Rothbard anarcho-capitalist. I just find the people who are so consistent in what they believe to be not dishonest, but not relatable to most people. I don't disrespect the people out there who give a consistent front of, like Roger is a great example. Roger's a very consistent person in what he believes. He applies it in a way, but I'm just not that sure. I wrestle with things a lot more, and part of what the show is about is the wrestling of it. And that means we're going to have voices that you don't agree with. And frankly, if you don't always get the joke, or if you don't agree with the joke, or if you don't agree with the podcast, or you don't agree with the voice giving the podcast, that's fine. I don't need you to agree. I don't need you to do anything. I don't even need you to listen. I mean, to be quite honest,
Anarchy.
I frankly do this because I genuinely love my friends. I love getting to do this every Tuesday night with my friends. I love getting to talk to the audience. I love getting to connect with people like Nick that I've talked to for a long time, meet him in person. You know, I think for us, it'd be hard. It's hard to get together with friends in your 30s, but this is something that gets us united back together.
Because you diss us every Friday as you drive away from us.
It's true. I do not come to Liberty and Chill.
Where is that at these days?
It's still at Triton Brewery and our brew
Is that
house on
Irvington?
Wheeler. No, we're actually up on Lawrence.
Oh, okay. So he
yeah.
was in Irvington, I thought, last time.
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
where we're at.
I'm
That
so
awful
behind on the
Black
times.
Acre Brewery, which
Yeah.
is awful, full of
I
hipsters.
went there once. It wasn't great.
No, terrible parking. The wait
Yeah.
staff there did not want our money.
It's Jesse Riddle picked it.
Because
That's
your
what was
pants
wrong.
weren't tight enough.
Yeah, that's what it was. But Triton, they love our money. They'll
Okay.
plenty
Yeah, I
of
know where that's
parking. And there's a bus line next to it for the people who don't have cars
Or don't want to drink and drive.
or don't drink and drive. Yeah, that's true there. But it's off of Wheeler Road in beautiful downtown Lawrence, Indianapolis.
Okay.
Lawrence, Indiana. Sorry, not
I have to
Indianapolis.
try
but
to
yeah.
So-
It's,
check that out.
you know, where,
Go
it's
ahead.
like, you know, it's off at the fort by the Jacomos on the fort.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just by there,
It's right
across
down
the
from
street
me.
from the Ivy Tech.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's right. Just not far from me. So now that it's closer and I'm not ugly anymore, I can make it.
Would you share with your sister the headphones so she can hear too, please?
With your sister. I love how all of a sudden this happened.
Hi, James Nease. How are you doing? Are you on a bender right now? But-
Oh, no.
What did you get? Who yelled at you? Who would do such a thing?
Got him.
Barack Obama. This is not a clean server environment, though. What if you get ranch dressing in one of the fans or something? They were built to withstand Mountain Dew. Now, where are you at right now?
Server room home?
Harry immediately got on his phone to start working on stuff. Maranda Barnett's here.
Hey.
Such a sweet talker.
Yeah, he is. Did something for me. Hey. I was going to say, you had me at chicken wings, barbecue sauce. Oh, actually, no barbecue. I want hot sauce and then ranch, yeah.
Now, how hot is your hot sauce, Nease?
Mm. Yeah. That's not for wings.
Where are the wings from?
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Wings, etc. is better.
But Buffalo Wild Wings lemon pepper is really good.
Never had it, but wings, etc. is where it's at.
Okay. All right.
Where those Hermanaki boneless.
Oh, Hermanaki. There's that restaurant.
Ale Emporium.
Ale Emporium's
Oh.
about to come down by my house. We're gonna
Are they putting
Hermanaki
one
it
down
up.
here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
They
I'm
put
gonna
one in
Herman-
Fisher's too. I just love it. I could just eat those all day.
Their wedge. Great wedge, Nick. Anything in Philly is not anywhere near Hermanaki and wedge.
I don't know what wedge is.
Yeah, wedge
Boneless
salad.
Wings? These
yeah.
boneless wings aren't even breaded, and they're. I mean, it's the most.
It's
just,
sweet and
I want
barbecuey.
to
and
just like lay there and people throw those and slap me with them like the kid, like they do with those kids with cheese.
pull your mic up towards your mouth.
That's what I want with those. Those wings are so good.
Niece, what's the craziest thing you've ever done with a chicken wing? No. No, I'm not. I'm not a degenerate, he said. Oh my God. Niece, you're an American treasure. You're a 4chan icon.
He is.
He's one of the founders of 4chan. And he worked for Harry. Why? Yeah, he's zoned out since you said that.
That's
What is
because
he?
he's online shopping. That's what he does over here.
What-
I'm just
I know.
calling him out right now.
What are you buying?
He's been buying all kinds of stuff. I saw a Wagyu steak and
You bought
everything.
Yeah, you do.
What is the thing that James has done that has made you the most mad, Harry?
Let's see. Most of the time, anytime he touches anything with hardware or networking, those two things.
Okay.
Anytime he has to build something, like physically build it, like with his own hands, or networking. That's usually it's just like it's shady. I have to go back and go look at it, have someone else look at it, or fix it again. Those things, yes, but mostly those. Like this. There was a switch just hanging and dangling above everybody's head, just dangling up there with gravity.
Niece, we were talking about the magazine that we have, WALreader.com, and they published an article explaining what is libertarian socialism, and some guy named Patrick went crazy over it, and how dare we push. Now, you are one of the first people to come on. I've never heard anybody before you talk about mutualism, and it's so hot right now, but you were talking on this program about mutualism in 2013, maybe even 2012. And so we were just talking about the depth of opinion that we have here in We Are Libertarians. But when you see these guys who are just kind of your typical black and yellow guys who get mad at anybody who is, like, really at the end of the day what it is, and see, I want to know if you agree with me, Nease, because you've battled with these guys more than anybody else. It's cult behavior. They don't want anybody that threatens their personal cult, because most people who are angry at any kind of intellectual diversity in the libertarian movement or conversation or anything that isn't black and yellow, these guys are cultists. They don't want you to threaten their whole identity, which is being an anarchist. Am I right or wrong on that?
Disagreed with me once. Like, disagreed with me once. Blocked. Like, I don't block people, right? Because it's. He's like, well, why don't you block people? I'm like, because it's admitting defeat, right? Like, why would I block you when I can harass you?
Right.
That's my mentality. I can harass you nonstop. I can't harass you if you block me. So, like, my biggest pet peeve is getting blocked. So, like, I just lost it. I was like, are you serious? You're gonna block me over disagreements? And it was something silly about, like, women's autonomy or something, and I said I was shit posting. I said something like, I wish women had 2 vaginas or some shit like that. Just some gross fucking. Then I went into some like eugenics. I was trolling with some eugenics.
Just a tad of eugenics, Nick. Just some misogyny with a sprinkling of eugenics. Sounds familiar.
Well, I said, it was during the CRISPR thing. We started fixing stuff in CRISPR, and I said, by 2050, I don't really need women anymore. I can just genetically modify cat girls and kind of do what I want. And he's like, that's degenerate as shit, and like that's sexist. I'm like, it's not sexist because cat girls aren't really people. They're like property. You pay for it. You get the cat girl, tickle bitties, whatever you want.
Wait, what is a cat girl? Like a woman who likes cats, like an old lady?
No, like I'm gonna splice the woman with a cat so she gets the cat ears and the tail.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you want a woman that has genetically cat-like features?
Yeah.
There we go.
Is that
there
me?
we go.
No, you don't have a tail and.
Yeah, don't you dare! I do too.
No, I've inspected you. You don't. I've seen
He
your
gave me
tail.
a cat bath.
That's right. Yes.
He called it misogyny. I called it hentai. It's the same. it's what it is. So he gets mad, but I never my issue with the black and yellow people is it's like fake hardness, right? Like they're hard on the internet. They're 100% hard on the internet, but they're they cower and in public setting. They don't say the shit in public. So it's just they'll say all sorts of shit on the internet, and then you meet them in public for the first time, and they're these meek people. Then you realize they don't own property, they don't own anything, and
That's
it's you're gonna get
70%
steamrolled.
of people on the
You're
internet.
gonna get steamrolled if you implement this ideology right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
They watermark all their memes and then talk about how you shouldn't have IP.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and they even hate capitalism. There's certain things I've done that's very capitalistic that certain people in the libertarian movement would not like because they say it's cheating, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Would you like to admit to any crimes on today's episode?
No, because I can't go back to India.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by the program. James Nease, everybody. Please try to keep your workspace clean. Take a shower every 12 hours.
Eat your wings.
I took a shower at work, and they got mad at me for it. They're like, no one's ever done that in the history of this company. Because we have a shower in one of the bathrooms. I got some Dawn soap from dish soap. I took a shower in there. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, well, hard the paint, dude.
Hard in the paint. Nease,
yeah.
There's no one like you.
Well, I got those servers done. So I just I literally big dicked it, right? So big dicked it, and everybody's like, oh, this is fucking great. And I'm over here pushing massive packets trying to break it.
Could you,
could
you imagine Miranda just walking around going, I just fat pussied that?
Yeah, I did.
Pussied it. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, what I do, you got to go hard in the paint sometimes.
You got that fat pussy energy.
Sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta grab it, right? You just gotta grab it, big dick it.
Fat pussy.
You don't big dick it, you lose. But I'm gonna continue to eat chicken wings in that server room because it's the nicest room.
How do you feel about this, Harry?
We will not
No,
stop.
you're not. I'm gonna get a sign that says no food or drink.
You think your cute little sign?
Yeah.
Your little word document that you've laminated and posted. That's gonna stop James Nease.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's air controlled. So it's like all the rest of the place is like a hot ass factory. This place is like 65, like grandma's house. It feels comfortable, instantly comfortable. You go in there, there's a nice desk, like all the shit you need to work on's in there. You just eat the chicken wings. You can open the blinds and check out like all the women doing the embroidery stuff. It's the nicest place to be. And and Harry's like, you can't eat chicken wings in here. I'm like, where do you want me to eat it? In the cafeteria with the plebs?
How about we address the stalking of the women that work there?
Yeah.
That's an Asian man we work with.
Allegedly.
Harry
is so mad right
Break
now.
off.
Harry's face. I wish you were watching the YouTube if you're listening on the air. You should see Harry's face. He just is melting into an HR nightmare. Every minute of this phone call has gotten worse. It started with, I'm transferring a gig of packets a second.
Fat dicks.
Fat pussy. I'm
Fat
eating
pussy,
chicken
big
wings
dicks.
as I scoop out the Asian workers.
Yeah.
Oh my.
No. Yeah.
It's like HR nightmare. But here's the thing. Does anyone even at that place even listen? I should show them the podcast one day.
No,
Like, look,
no.
this is what I
You
say.
shouldn't. No.
Just remember,
No.
your illegal activities have not run out the
What-
statute of limitations.
What you don't realize is like a lot of the upper part of our company took off the day after the election because Trump won. There was like 2 people working the day after the election, just 2 in that other office of ours.
So
Just
they were
2.
partying in the streets or crying in their pillow.
Now,
The rest of them were crying on their pillow. It was just like 2 people working, going like, "We got to get the crap done." What's your freaking problem?
what's the name of your HR lady? What's her name again? Is it Big Tit Betsy? Is that what
No,
you call her?
no.
Big Tit
yeah,
Betsy,
No,
that's-
no, we don't call it that.
Right.
We don't call it that.
Slick tit Sally.
No,
Right,
no,
yeah.
no. We definitely don't call it that either. No,
Sloppy
no.
Pussy Pam?
No,
I think that's
no.
what you called her. Yeah.
No, no,
Baloney
we don't call
Barb.
it that.
Baloney Barb. Yeah,
Those
that's
are
right.
terrible names to call a lady.
Pepperoni
We don't
nipple
call
patty.
James, what's her name? Roast beef Rebecca?
No.
Probably. I mean,
We got
like, I
the
don't
meat.
deal with the HR
No.
people.
No.
The HR people deal with me.
All right.
It's like-
Okay.
Arby's Amy?
Yeast
All right.
infection yonder.
but no, you should come,
I'm sorry. I'm just very
you guys
proud
should
of us
come
right
hang out with me one day in the server room, eat some fucking chicken wings in the server room with me. Like,
Oh.
we can just have a picnic. Eric can come,
All
but
right.
Eric can't kick out my chicken wings.
All right, Nease. It's good to talk to you.
All right.
No wonder you didn't want your last name on this, Nick.
Yeah.
You know, I worked at the place that I work at for probably 4 years before I told anybody about the podcast. No one in management for the first 3 years knew about it. At least the first Subway Susie.
Good one, right
I
on.
told
Thanks,
people
thanks.
about Miranda's World. It related in me getting fired. And
Really?
then- yeah, remember?
Where?
And that's why I told you to take it down from the Harley store.
I did not know that's
and
why.
then I took it down. Yeah, I was like, yeah, let's take that down.
Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Who did you get in trouble with? Running a train,
The
Rhonda?
general manager likes to suck dick, whatever his name was.
Uh-huh.
What was his name?
Well.
God, he was a little bitch,
That's unfortunate.
obviously.
Yeah. You were tailor made. You were the queen bee. Could you imagine Miranda working at a Harley store?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know,
come
perfect.
on.
Perfect for a Harley store.
You would rule those men with an iron fist.
I know I tried, but
So that's crazy. There was nothing on Miranda's World that a Harley store should be mad about.
thank you.
I can see some of it because a lot of
It was
Harley
not that
riders,
stuff, though.
a lot of Harley riders are cosplayers, and
Yes.
they're cosplayers.
Yeah. They're not hard
but
as
I
fuck.
like to wear
They're-
a costume.
Yeah.
No, they fake. They're not,
Well, yeah, but
and
obviously the general manager was the same.
yeah, and they just, they realize that Miranda's. That wasn't an act that she's putting on for the customers. This is real. And if she said the wrong thing, somebody could get cut, and that was her.
But it's hard.
I know.
It's like motorcycle
Indiana's been
culture.
keeping me in line. State of Indiana has got me behaving myself, and I'm doing good.
But the thing about and if you'd like to hire Miranda, she's a good employee, right?
Oh yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, now that the state of Indiana is keeping me in line,
She's really cleaned up her act. So
Yeah.
if you
Are
need
you
to
looking for
hire
work?
a girl out there,
maybe how much? How much to start?
do you need what's your skill set? Let's.
Oh, I mean, I can do anything I put my mind to.
Think we need someone in HR. Miranda would be great for HR.
So you know how the Bullfrog 89 found us, Harry?
How?
I found this podcast when there was an incident streaming on the Facebook page for Chris's other job. That was so the day
Never
job.
happened, Bullfrog.
Oops. Here's the thing: the day job that I work for is a comedy radio show. It is very apolitical. We do not talk politics. So to accidentally stream my podcast to the main page was the most horrifying thing. Like I just get a text from Hannah Weber that says abort. And I was like, wow. So it was one of the worst moments of my life. It was very panic inducing. So as we continue on, there's I don't know what we're doing on this show, but I didn't have much of a plan. I just kind of had some fun people coming by, and I just wanted to talk and get caught up and not do a heavy episode here.
Mm-hmm.
You sent me a bunch of notes, and we haven't gone over anything.
We are not.
Yeah, that's been canceled.
That's
Okay.
a typical podcast. You'll prepare for like a week on all this stuff, and he'll just take that and a curveball. Remember I told you on the
It
car
keeps
ride?
it fresh.
Curveball, just curveballs.
Yes.
You
Well,
know? Like I can come in prepared to talk about Chelsea Manning, how she just freaking got out last week, or how like Julian Assange is still freaking in jail over some trumped up charges. We won't talk about any of that crap.
well, here's the thing: it's my show, and you can suck my dick.
Yeah, and I'll watch.
No, but that's why we started
I
the
wanna know
dailies,
more
right?
about this car ride. What else did you tell him?
Yeah. Is it like one of those abducted in plain sight car rides?
Yeah.
Did he tell you that he doesn't get much from his wife, Harry or Nick?
Oh,
Nick?
I'm not touching that.
We didn't go that far.
All right, okay. I can't wait for the documentary Harry's Life 2028. Now listen.
What's up?
Here's the thing. That's why we started the dailies, and that's why you have the low key wall episode that you did a couple months ago. That has done about as well as any one of these episodes. People really enjoy the low key wall. We did the dailies so you could do topics that you were interested in.
Correct. Yeah.
You ain't done a damn thing, son.
I've been super busy.
Oh,
So like the
yes,
company
you
that we
have.
worked with, like, well, James is dealing with this other stuff in the world. I've been dealing with the other junk going on.
Right.
Because one of our brilliant engineers at our company decided to, I don't know, make an account with an easy password. I'm not even gonna say the password because it's so easy because I already set the password.
Miranda, what do you think it was?
Password.
Yeah, exactly. Ding, 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 ding.
Lower or uppercase?
Ah, man, it doesn't matter. Does it really matter?
It's just like John Podesta. Password 12345.
So I had to deal with that for like a whole week, and then I had to deal with the emergency office move and fly out to California. You're like, we gotta move in a week. What? Yeah, that was
well,
fun.
I'm not gonna give
And
you.
then get yelled at from the sales department because apparently the only couple people that knew about the whole office move was myself and that whole team. Then the sales team got pissed off at me.
All right,
'cause
I'm gonna stop you right there because this is not T-shirts are us news updates.
Whoa,
all right,
whoa.
This
I'm
is-
sorry. I was.
we're getting
you let
too
me vent.
too
and I
far
was
into
just
the
like,
weeds.
I feel like this is Harry's work podcast.
This is very
inside baseball.
inside Harry's workplace. Thank you.
Anyways, let's talk.
But I identify with you, okay? Because I'm going through something similar, and I think that it's why we've lost 11 patrons in the last 2 months alone. And so I want to be very transparent about some stuff that's going on behind the scenes, as we're kind of just catching up. I've alluded to the importance of the research team and Sam Schultz specifically and Hody Johns and how much they're carrying a lot of the load right now. This has been the busiest personally and professionally, but especially professionally, the busiest period of my entire life. So I have my day job that I work full time that is audio and video production for a radio show. So it's basically the same thing as this. There is the Leaders and Legends podcast that is basically teaching you how the establishment of a major city works. So I highly recommend that you go listen to that. I'm producing that. That's my first professionally produced podcast. There is the Miss Pat podcast, The Pat Down, which was a top 5 comedy podcast, like in the world, top 50 podcasts. It's pretty cool to like see your name in the description of a podcast that's in the top 50 of all podcasts in the Apple directory. It was a very proud moment for me this past week.
And you should be proud.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. I'm doing all the tech for it, but I'm also a co-host on it. I'm the one that kind of keeps the conversation moving, sort of like I do here. And Miss Pat is just one of the funniest people. Have you guys listened to the Pat Down?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
what do you think of it?
Miss Pat gets into the podcast. I don't know if it's more of your coaching, but she does it very naturally. The whole room does it. It feels like they've been podcasting for years. Even I know like this is their first podcast. This is what they're doing. And I think you've done a great job of keeping the conversation fresh, keeping them moving, and so they don't stay too stagnated on things.
Yeah, so let me give you a sampling of it. I'll just play this little promo because I would really love this audience to go support me on the Pat Down. Download it, listen to it. Comes out every Tuesday. It's 30 minutes. It's really funny, and I'm putting a ton of time into it. And I'd love ratings and reviewings, and I'd love to be able to say that I'm in the top comedy podcast in America. Miss Pat's obviously the star. I play, a small role, but certainly do the production for it. But just listen to this. Wait a minute. He showed up to spank your sister, and he beat you instead. What?
Spank.
Whooping and a spanking are two different.
Black
Are
people
they?
don't get spanking.
Yes.
You get spanking. We get
No.
beat up.
What do you think a spanking is, honey?
That's where they bend you over to the knee and they go.
With,
that.
with that hand?
With the hand.
No, a whooping is with an electric cord. We got belts.
Ain't
we
nobody
got
whooping you no
switch-
that
You
electric.
beat me with a switch.
Shut the fuck
Okay.
up.
I got hit with a
Okay,
spoon.
and
Thank
I
you.
got hit with a
That's
spoon.
it.
You talking like I hit you with a stitching cord.
You did.
You a goddamn lie.
It was yellow. It was bright yellow. I remember you took it out the back of the
Girl,
TV.
that was a Twizzler.
A Twizzler. Twizzlers are yellow, honey. I know colors.
why would you be here with candy?
Right.
I know. You don't even make no sense.
Please tell me you didn't eat that shit afterward.
I probably fed it to her.
Ridiculous.
That's just get in trouble all the time. Beat me with Necco wafers.
Who knew something so sweet could be so sour?
So this one we're talking about the one that aired today, Miss Pat's meatball, talking about Miss Pat's first period in a while and the meatball that she has in her ass, and then we talk about whether the resurrection happened or not. Did Jesus walk on the earth? So we talk about racism. It is I'm the only white guy. I'm the token white guy on the podcast, and it is. We talk some racial stuff, but really the whole point is sort of like what we talked about in the beginning here. People from different cultures. So Miss Pat moved from the worst parts of Atlanta. Her book Rabbit is one of the best books I've ever read. You go and you read her life and you go, I didn't know this existed in real life. And then we talk about some of that in some of the more serious episodes. But Miss Pat she didn't know white people. And then she moved to my town in Indiana, which is 98% white and 2% Muslim. And like they doubled the size of the black population when they moved there. And so you have somebody who was afraid of white people until she was in her early 30s, moving to a town where race, because it was an underground railroad stop, the town that I grew up in was the home of the National Quaker Meeting Place. It was 3 generations ago a place that really actively tried to not see race as an issue, but to correct the imbalances of slavery and what was happening then. And I mean, race just wasn't a factor for me growing up. I mean, Harry, you and Abdul have been you've been someone that has really helped me understand what it's like to be a black person. I don't understand what it's like, but you've helped me kind of go, no, it's different for you than it is for me. I have a different experience. What we talk about in the Pat Down, but it's interesting to have grown up in the place that she now lives and talk about it from 2 completely different views. And it's also just really funny. Like Miss Pat's just hilarious.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm the straight man setting it up and letting her knock it out.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it is hilarious, and other people can come up and have a ball with it. It's hilarious. I don't know about playing it at work, but for the car ride in, it's perfect.
Yeah, 30 minutes or so.
Mhm.
But I'm working really hard on that. The Leaders and Legends podcast is, I'm going to get to. I helped interview the lieutenant governor, the guys who put on the Super Bowl. We're going up to see I can't say this, but really big guests, like all the people who have been the establishment of Indianapolis for a very long time. And I will say that doing that the last 3 months has been very instructive for me as somebody who has been on the outside arguing against the very policies these people are being interviewed about for the last 15 years, hearing their rationale of and why they think they're right, knowing what I have been arguing against has been very instructive too. So I've also had some personal stuff going on that's very good, but has also taken up some time. I'm not going to go into detail at this point, but some very, very good personal things that have been going on. And so I just want to say to the patrons specifically, but our audience, I have been less than attentive to We Are Libertarians over the last 3 or 4 months. And it's because something at some point has to give. And it takes a tremendous amount of intellectual effort to do this. It takes a ton of reading time. It takes a ton of studying time. It takes a ton of just energy. And, you know, there's just been a few Tuesdays where it's like, I'm going to sit behind this microphone and I'm unprepared and I'm going to do a bad show, so I'm just not going to do a show. And so if we have been inconsistent, it is because I have been working on a lot of personal stuff. And, you know, I've got the next few shows mapped out. I don't anticipate that. Like, I'm kind of past that busy period. You know, work had a few things going on as well. And so I'm kind of at the point where I've had a really busy 4 months that have changed my world in terms of economics, in terms of relationships, and in terms of my careers, the future of my career, in very positive directions. And so I am sorry that we have not been as consistent and I have not been as dedicated to We Are Libertarians over the last 4 months, but it's because I have been working on some things that are very good for me. And you sort of get to a point where you do something for so long, and I've just been kind of out of gas, to be quite honest with you. I think you get to a point where you work on a project or you follow politics and you live and breathe politics, and I just needed a little time away. And we've done the shows, and those show notes have helped save my butt with Sam. Like, but if you've noticed me being a little less attentive to some of this stuff, and you feel neglected as a listener or as a patron, I apologize. I really have, I have felt very guilty about it. But I have had to take some opportunities that have been very good for me. And the opportunity to be on, for instance, a podcast, work on a podcast that has, you know, working with Robert on Leaders and Legends has given me a great instruction in how local government works. It's put me in rooms with people that are going to hire me to produce their podcast, and these are people with very deep pockets. And it's been a great education for me, as it will be for you, the listener, if you listen to that. And it's paid me well. And so my future is to start a brand about podcasting and how to do what we've done here. And so I needed the experience of consulting, and likewise to be on a podcast that is in the top 10 of the comedy charts. I can't tell you what that's going to do for this, and how many new people who have never heard the word libertarian are going to start listening to this show because of that. But I've needed to work hard on that stuff. So I just have had a limit, and I probably should have been a little more forthcoming with you guys, but it's just kind of, I've been feeling very guilty about it this week and neglecting kind of this stuff. And so I apologize. We're going to do more shows. We're going to be more regular. We're going to get back to, I'm getting back into reading the news and all that kind of stuff, because we got to be prepared for 2020.
Yes.
But I don't know if, as a listener, Nick, if you sensed that over the last few months, but I've just, something had to give at some point.
I think you're being pulled in a lot of different directions.
Right.
I remember listening to you on Frank Caliendo's podcast.
Yeah.
And you did a phenomenal job, by the way.
Thank you.
But that, you're pretty much a one-man show.
Yeah.
So
That was
being on,
that was January, and
Yeah.
what that led to was like 16 guest appearances on other shows.
Yeah.
And so there was a period in January, February where I didn't have time to do my show because I was doing so many other guest spots.
Right.
But that was great because I'm accessing audiences. Like, I was walking into Meyer the other day, and some guy yelled out, "Love your podcast." And it was a guy that heard me first on Frank's podcast, and he started listening to We Are Libertarians. So, yeah, I mean, that was a great opportunity, and I will see Frank tomorrow, and I'm going to thank him for it.
And it's just incredible because I remember watching Frank Caliendo when he was doing the NFL, doing all those impressions of Terry Bradshaw and all those guys. And he's hilarious. So it's just it's crazy that you've kind of taken. I remember the circle of We Are Libertarians and how it was kind of like a close-knit family, and now we've kind of expanded into worlds that I never thought that they would be in.
Me either.
So it's like being on Frank Caliendo's podcast and doing another comedy show with Miss Pat. It's a lot.
Yeah, and it's great for not just We Are Libertarians, but also for the movement, for libertarianism in general. Also my faith, like the podcast today, we ended talking about Jesus, and that's been a great opportunity too. I mean, I know that you've been busy, so you, Harry, have not necessarily been mad that we've not been consistent because you probably want a break too.
Yeah, I was, dealing with just work stuff or just trying to deal with because I'm still technically went back to school to finish up, half of my degree program. So it was like, and it's like, good. I could use this time to do this. I could use the time to do this, or just spend time with my family because, work and everything else, they get neglected because I end up having to leave or go somewhere else. So it's just nice just being there with Gunther.
Yeah. I mean, Miranda, you've started and closed many a podcast.
Yeah. And I like you, though. It's like amazing to me. I've been out at Chick-fil-A or just, a few other places where somebody comes up to me and they recognize me from the podcast or from my show. And obviously it's so crazy because I don't know. You just don't expect that.
Yeah. So I just want to say to the patrons and everybody, hey, if you felt a little inattentive from me, it's not going to last. It's just it's been temporary. And I will be quite frank with you. There are a couple times a year, every year, since really 2013, where I'm just like, I'm just going to shut it down. I'm done doing this. I've said everything I need to say. I'm just going to turn off the Patreon, turn off the website, just shut it down. And I always inevitably, a week later, something happens in the news, and I'm like, I need to get on the podcast and talk about this right now. And so I will never not do this podcast, We Are Libertarians, and partially what I'm doing with the dailies, with Hody, and with some other people, Ryan, in the magazine and stuff. I want We Are Libertarians. I was so much a Nazi about the brand for so long. I want to keep it very controlled. It's mine. Everything runs through me. And what I really started to do at the end of last year was going, I really just like doing the 2 hours on Tuesday. And I need to stop trying to do everything. And so I'm going to just say to the audience, if you want to do something, step up. Hody, the daily hosts, the magazine, the Discord, the social networks, the book club with Hody, the other shows, if you have an idea out there, I really want We Are Libertarians to be bigger than me, bigger than just me. If I get hit by a bus, I expect We Are Libertarians to continue. If I get to a point where I can only do one show a month, I'm going to still do one show a month. But there will always be consistent content because we've got great people like Hody and Dennis and Sarah and all the future hosts we're going to recruit and Miranda and Harry. It's got to be bigger than one person. And so if you're out there and you want to get into podcasting, or if you have a podcast and you're like, hey, I'd love to do some... Did my pussy just snap at you?
Yeah, I know. It did more than snap.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Got me.
Well,
thought we had a good thing going.
Thank goodness we have it on tape that my property has abused Miranda. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Do you want to hit it with some alcohol or something?
No, I don't think I broke skin. Yeah, I'm not used to that.
She will bite you.
Well, see, that's from a bite, too. I don't get the bite. Well, my cat, if he gets into this piece right here,
yeah.
Oh my God, he will sink in. I would damn near knock him out. That is crazy. He can just sense. He doesn't even have to. As soon as he clenches one time in that little spot, he's like, "That's it." Shitted.
So, if you want, it's the Value for Value Network, and that's really what I want the brand. As Nick said, we've started with a small group of friends doing one podcast, and 555 episodes in the feed later were now something that is far beyond just me, far bigger than I can control. We're at a point now where people are recruiting people, and I don't necessarily have a lot of interaction with those people, and I'm fine with it. I used to not be, but I am now. And so I really want people, if you have an idea, it's the Value for Value Network. If you listen to this show and you get value out of this show, then donate to the Patreon. That's a great way to do it. But if you don't have money, then share it and say, I really get a lot out of this show. If you have a talent, or you have a podcast, or you're a writer, or you're just an editor, somebody that can proofread stuff and wants to help with the magazine, or you are an audio editor and you just want to edit some podcasts to take a load off there, that'd be great. Like, whatever talent you have. We have someone who is working on a special project, an art project for our patrons. Hey, I get a lot out of the podcast. I do this artistic thing, and I think that'd be a great way to reward your patrons.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, my
Yes, ma'am.
friend Chad, he does like drawing, like portrait drawings.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we need one of the three of us. Oh my gosh,
That'd
I'm
be
going
funny.
to get him to do. Yeah,
And
he's so
mittens.
great.
Well.
Oh my god, and mittens. And then I would throw my cats in there, but they're not a part of the show. I try to include them in everything.
I mean, Nick was legitimately starstruck earlier when he saw Mittens.
Oh yeah,
I was.
That's the first time she's ever bit me, but at the same time, she gave me more attention too.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's okay.
So yeah, if you have a talent, a desire to help, then please. If you get something out of what we do, what we have done, I have a lot of ideas on like basic libertarian 101 stuff, or maybe some libertarian classes or stuff like that. And you're a marketer that can put together classes, or whatever idea you might have. If you want to, Hody used to do a podcast. Hody didn't have a lot of listeners. Hody has 4,000 people listening to him now every time he does a podcast. His numbers on the daily numbers are starting to rival the main show.
Nice.
I love that. I want that. And so this is a platform with a built-in user base. And so if you enjoy what we do here and you want to participate, then hit me up and I'll send you the logos and just start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I will always find a way to say, hey, like, there's been one person I'm like, hey, can I redo that graphic for you? I won't call them out, but no, it's not you, Harry. But, I think like the Discord, for instance, you just started that, and it's been a great source of fun for a lot of people that wouldn't have interacted in other ways. So
yeah, I'm almost scared to change that logo now.
I want We Are Libertarians to be used to build community, and without waiting on me to give you permission to do it. Just do it. Get in the Facebook group, recruit some people to do some stuff, and cool. If it's racist, if it is anti-Semitic, if it is misogynistic, if it is something that is generally gross, I will ask you politely to stop doing it and enforce my trademark if I had to. But
I will enjoy it from afar.
But at the end of the day, like Trisha Stewart, who is a great friend of mine. We did the episode on why I'm not an anarchist. I did a Facebook Live to her group. She said, I have never had more people comment and say, I really got a lot out of that. I'm curious about it. Hey, tell me more. Like, really polite people. And Trisha is used to dealing with anarchists. Normally not polite people, right? Sarah was looking at some of her old videos, and she goes, I went to look for negative comments from libertarian dudes talking smack about a libertarian woman, and I didn't find any. And what we have been fortunate to build here at We Are Libertarians is a group of very polite people who want to learn and want to treat others with respect, and I will always make that one of the central tenets. But if you read over our Statement of 10 Principles, you agree with it, you fit in that vein, then we'd love to have you and do things like the magazine, like Ryan did, or the book club like Hody does. Check out the website and see how you want to join. So any ideas, Harry, of what you'd like to start?
I already got my things that I have. I think my biggest thing is just trying to find some time.
Yeah.
I've got my veins. I've got my I got my lanes. I've got my shows. It's just I even got technically halfway. We even got the basement studio actually set up. I actually got my little solo area,
Heck yeah.
which is really nice. It's actually like I put that microphone in there. It's a nice little soundproof area underneath the stairs, and then I set up a little areas just in case I did have Escalaja Plus come over after going Liberty Chill. I can actually sit down with him and do something. But yeah, now it's just like Will.
Miranda, what are some ideas? I know that you want to do some podcasting.
Yeah, I want to do some podcasting. I'm trying to think of like what else. What does this group need?
Your beauty. That's what.
I'm here for you.
Your comedy.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I, crazy enough, was reunited with my sisters that they were half sisters. That I never knew. I met one time when I was 7.
Right.
And then my cousin from my dad's side of the family actually works at Crackers. So I'm going to be signing up for an open mic night. So
Sweet.
I'm going to be
Nice.
shit bombing this city with my comedy again.
Well, make sure you hit up the Facebook group, the We Are Libertarians Facebook group, which you can join at wearelibertarians.com, and Miranda will tell us when her show is, and we'll all go see it.
Yeah, that'd
please.
be fun.
Yeah. And, it's just things like that. I guess, everybody does have something to contribute. We all have natural talents. We all have, I don't know, I guess just something to connect other people in with what's going on. So I need to look more into what else I have to offer.
But something like that is a great opportunity for a bunch of fans to get together, go see Miranda, connect with each other, and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can
Just-
start a Liberty Chill in your area.
Yeah. Or Walnut Society. I like walnuts.
Yeah.
We'll
or we
we'll
should
get
just
there.
grow
sometime.
the Libertarians and Chill that's happening and get more people involved. And I need to get myself involved first.
Because we got a nice big group of 6 guys that always distinctly show up every
But
Friday.
it's like, I feel like that is probably one of the best ways to get the rest of the community involved, because who doesn't want to, go and hang out on a Friday night, have fun with people, and, just that you can relate to on a level of any sort. That's the good thing about libertarians. I feel like, we all, like you said, it's a very, very diverse political status. None of us are just, well, not very many of us are just like straight one way or the other. We all kind of have something to contribute towards educating each other on different opinions on different, issues and things like that going on. So
A lot of people wrote in and said, "Hey, I want to start a Liberty and Chill," and then we just didn't get back to them. Just start one.
yeah, start one.
Send me an
Put it-
email.
make a
Ask.
page.
Yeah, send me an email. Ask for the logo and write up when, where, who, what, how, all that stuff. I will read it on the air, and then people can meet up. I mean, we had a lot of people who, don't wait for me. All you got to do is say Friday nights or Thursday nights or Saturday nights. Usually Friday nights at a local bar with food. You just get there every single week.
Doesn't have to be a bar.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
have to have to deal with
Yeah,
alcohol.
it could
It
be
doesn't even
anything.
have to deal with alcohol.
Yeah,
It can
It-
happen in your basement.
Yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Take charge and make it happen.
Yeah.
Libertarian home groups, just
Yeah.
like church.
Because even the one in that we're doing at Triton Lake, eventually Lawrence is going to start back up the Friday night at the fort, and we're probably going to go down to the family fun area at Friday night at the fort and just picnic out in front of that, where they have all the jazz bands and stuff like that. They're in the fort, so.
I mean, what are you thinking, Nick? Other than please, dear God, let me go to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you hear this stuff, or what's coming to your mind?
it's tough for me just because at the stage of my life, I'm not thinking about how to advance the Libertarian Party or libertarian ideas. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about my work. I'm thinking about, and it makes me feel guilty because I feel like my area where I'm at, the Libertarian Party is a hot mess express. So I feel like I could do more in that aspect and try and help and try and bring cohesion. But it's tough.
Make it a family thing.
But here's the thing. I have become more and more convinced over the last couple years that the idea that we will go out and change the world. I mean, I was talking about this recently with somebody, and I said I got into doing this stuff because I wanted to change the world, and I wanted to change 100,000 minds, and I wanted to build a movement, and I wanted to do this or that. And the older I get, the more foolish I think that is. The best thing I can do for liberty is to just treat people better, to build a family, to treat the 100 people that I see on a daily basis, to talk to those people. Like, I feel like the idea that you need to go out and do something great and grand and big for libertarianism is a foolish idea. What you can do for libertarianism is understand the principles and live them out in your own life, and talk to the people closest to you about those things. Teach your kids teach your kids if you can, teach those kids the principles of libertarianism. But if you can't or don't want kids, then invest in the kids like your nieces and nephews. I don't have kids. I'd love to have kids, but right now, every time I see my niece, I just teach her taxation is theft. Little things like that are important. But I've become much more invested in the family that I have, and trying to just be a better uncle, a better son, a better worker, a better friend, and trying to improve myself across the board. And personal growth has really become, I think, central to building a more free world. So when you say, I don't know what I can do for libertarianism, all I can do is just do better for my family, yeah, because that's going to make you more emotionally stable, physically stable, financially stable. It's going to make you more free. And if you can get personal freedom, then if everybody does that, then eventually we end up with more freedom across the board. So I don't think you're wrong in that impulse, Nick.
Yeah. I don't want to bash libertarians.
No. Go ahead. That's what we do.
I think we do a great job of telling people about freedom, but we don't have the morality to back up with it. Where a lot of us love to talk about, you can put whatever you want into your body, which is not where I like to focus. I like to focus on having a family, being part of a community, helping out my neighbors, being self-reliant. Like this summer, we're starting to grow more of our own vegetables. I'd like to move to root vegetables next year, grow potatoes, becoming more reliant on ourselves and sharing with the community rather than having to depend on other people.
Right.
But libertarians in general love to I don't know. I don't want to generalize, but we love our corporations.
Parsnips and carrots.
Yes.
They're great root vegetables. They're very easy.
Have you ever had a parsnip?
Yes.
Fucking trash.
First off, then you don't know how to cook a parsnip.
Yeah, I don't, because it's trash. I would never buy one.
All right.
Ever had a parsnip?
Not that I
Right,
was
because you
willing
have
to
good taste.
participate in. I
Right.
do like beets though.
Parsnips are great.
Fuck off, Miranda.
Oh my god, no, I'm serious. They're so good. I don't like them cooked.
I'm
really.
very passionate about my
Cooked,
nightshades.
they're okay, but I love it. And I like to juice with them.
Is this when you're supposed to go to your Super Beats commercial? Oh, I'm sorry. But no, parsnips are great.
Be self-reliant is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Parsnips.
Miranda, I think what you've done with your daughter, a strong, independent, beautiful woman. She's a woman now, which is
I know.
crazy.
I know. It's rough.
She's about to graduate high school at some point
In
soon.
December, yeah.
Yeah. What? And I forgive me if this comes across as insulting, but you've done a great job raising her, and you've kind of said, if I can just break the cycle in my family for her, and that's all I can do, then that's the best thing you've done for liberty, is that you have taken the cycle that previous generations, like you just said, it stops with her. It stops with her. I'm going to give her a life. And that's the best thing that I think that you can do.
I was reflecting on that just the other day. It's really just quite amazing because, my aunt has, her 3 children have all graduated high school and had some college. But my mother did not graduate high school. She is just a total asshat. So she had me at 16, which that's not what makes her an asshat, but she still is one. And then, I had my daughter at 16. I did not graduate high school because I was going to the same school as this guy. And I was like, listen, I did not have time for this. I can't just be obsessed with Harry Price all day. I've got to move on.
Right.
So I quit going to high school, but then as soon as I turned 18, I did get my GED. But it was very important to me to just put her in a school district that was good and for her to grow up with just the lifestyle that I never had. And it has not been perfect, and I've not been perfect by any means, but it's still, in comparison, is quite amazing. I don't know, not to toot my own horn by any means, because it's really just quite a miracle of God that I have done what I've done,
right,
in my opinion. But, yeah, she's going to graduate. She, she doesn't know the lifestyle that I grew up over at 16th and Livingston, just the things that would go on. And,
Yeah.
She doesn't even know that area. If she walked in
Right.
that area of town, they'd beat her down.
Right.
They would take her little Vans or whatever she's wearing.
Her little Vans.
She just doesn't even get it. And so I don't know. I like that.
Yeah.
To me, that's just, I don't know. It makes it all worthwhile. Like everything that's got me to this point.
Yeah.
And it sucks that I did it by myself. Like I really would have liked to have gotten married and, given her that family unit. Like that's the one thing that, I like have regrets about, is that I wasn't able to do that.
But I know how open you are with her, and like, I think she understands from whence you came. That's the Queen's English, Harry. And how hard it was to get to that point. And you go, I'm proud of you. Thank you for giving me what I've given. I mean, you're kind of past the stage where she's moody and awful. I mean, sure, there's, you two are friends now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm sure she understands and forgives.
Yeah, and you know what she does? She's just great like that. And it's like some of the stuff that she says and does that makes me realize, like, oh shit, I didn't do a terrible job. Like,
right.
Because you're always your worst critic as it is. So it's like, oh gosh, I didn't completely fuck up. That's great. that's one time in my life.
But like, you don't have to go out and attend 150 rallies and do a libertarian podcast and write in a libertarian journal.
Right,
and
everybody has something
run
different
for office.
to offer.
Yeah, you did something that you had a life, you had a choice. I can be a fuck up, or I can make a good human, and you chose making a good human, and that's the best thing you can do for liberty. And I think sometimes we're losing sight of that. I think we're getting messages of, you need to run for office, you need to do that, and I've seen so many.
Not everybody.
Yeah, I've seen so many
for that.
people run for office, and it destroyed their marriage.
And even if they had made it, it's like they don't really have anything to contribute.
Right.
Like they really should, or maybe there's somebody out there that had more. I love Veep on HBO. I don't know who else watches that.
Hate.
I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus all the
Suck.
time. No,
Hate.
I love it. But to me, that's a good example of not everybody really should be running.
Right. Exactly.
All
right. Well, let's start wrapping up this episode. I'm going to have ladies go first.
Okay.
Final thoughts. You know how to do it. Then we'll go to Nick, so he knows how to do it.
Well, my final thoughts were that pizza was very, very good.
Brozini's, hell yeah.
Brozini's. Thank you so much, Nick.
You're welcome.
So thoughtful, so nice of you,
Yeah.
and so fucking rude of Harry to make you feel unwelcome and unwanted.
Harry's a good guy.
You should have fucking rolled out the welcome wagon.
Right. You should have kissed his feet
Think I
for
did.
buying you pizza.
I used my gas.
All right. Final thoughts,
Okay.
Miranda?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank all the Patreon donors for making it possible. Keep it up. Love you, Christy Avery, Carly Ernst. Those are
Yeah.
my main bitches.
Your ladies, yes.
Oh, well, and Araya, of course.
Aria Torres, yeah.
Aria. I know, I always say it wrong. Aria. And,
Areola.
wow. Rachel.
Yep.
So I love you, ladies. Love you, Harry. Chris, of course.
I love you more.
And nice to meet you, Nick.
Nice to meet you too.
He
has
doesn't
cute
love you.
kids.
haha.
That's
I
okay.
don't love him. He's
Beta.
a married
Look at
man.
that.
We just got.
Everybody look at that incel.
Yeah.
We just met.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's married too. I'm not going to throw you down, but it's fine. Anyway, yeah. So I hope to come back. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Miranda. Nick, final thoughts?
Thanks for having me. I've always wondered what I would say at this point. Like I've always I've always listened to like the final thoughts and be like, oh, I would say this during my final thought of this episode, but I don't know if I have anything right now. But it's great to be here.
Harry, he's gonna be in the shower tomorrow morning and be like, "Fuck."
Absolutely. I should
It'll
have
hit him on the way home.
lined out my libertarian positions by point, but no.
Then in episode 302, you said this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have kids, enjoy, have families. They're great.
Little Jordan Peterson over here.
I know.
Yeah.
The family is the most important thing.
My womb is closed.
Is it?
Oh, it's so close.
Oh.
It's just, yeah.
That's too bad.
When you got a kid getting ready
You've
to
already done a
graduate
great
high
job,
school,
so.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I did my time. No. I mean, I would create another perfect human if I could now because I know what I know, but it's
Right.
not happening. Sorry.
I
I stole your last thought. Sorry.
It's okay.
I love when like listeners, like if you're just like randomly out of the blue, like, hey, I want to come to your, but it's sort of fun when you know somebody like Nick or Chris Osborne who was here a few weeks ago, like people that have kind of interacted with you for a long time. If you ever make it to Indianapolis, hit me up. Matt Geiger, I think at some point may come by. It's kind of fun to have people who've listened to the show for a long time to get to come by and hang out and bring us treats.
It's a surreal experience too.
Isn't it weird to hear people say that, Harry?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's odd because we take this for granted, don't we?
Yes.
This is work for us.
It's like being on your favorite TV show that you've watched for the past 5 years, and all of a sudden you're on there.
That's funny.
And then you freeze up.
Was it as disappointing as I think it would be for you?
No, it wasn't disappointing. It was.
So it was disappointing a little bit.
No,
It's not
it was as good as
tremendous.
I thought it would be.
All right, good.
Yeah, good.
It's like his wife and just twisting his words.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she would never do that. Like Miranda twisting your words, right, Miranda?
Yeah, I'm a fucking bitch, not his wife.
Yeah, thank you, Miranda. Take one for the team like usual. You're my girl.
I really am a bitch, though, so that's fine.
All right, Harry, final thoughts.
Final thought. I hope that Miranda, you do get to come to Walnut or Liberty and Chill. Come down to Triton. Like I said, it's a brew house, so it's not a bar. So kids are welcome. So come to go sometimes, mostly while it's warmer because you can go outside and play. They've got stuff you can go outside and play. So you can bring your kids or people who are under 21. And there's juice and sodas and all that stuff and food that you can eat there. So it's fun. So fun
Come
for the whole
hang out
family.
with us.
Yeah, come hang out. Fun
Yeah.
for the whole family. Come socialize, and you don't have, and if you don't feel that, if you don't feel like we're going to just, Reinhold is going to show up there and argue in oblivion with your position, that's not going to happen.
How many vaccines do you think he got, Nick?
Not enough.
I love Dennis
They
so
don't
much.
create one for all his issues.
But no, we've got card carrying socialists that actually show up regularly to Liberty and Chill.
You're impure.
Yeah. Which who just comes in and we love to debate and just to hang out with each other. So please come hang out, have fun, get out of your house, see people, get some sunlight. It's great. I promise. But Nick, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Glad you got to experience the worst part of Indianapolis, the South Side part.
Yay.
I got
You live on the east side. Shut your
the
mouth.
best side. And also the second best pizza in Indiana, first being Cugino's Pizza in Lawrence, Indiana.
I'm going to go with Giordano's at Clearwater.
Oh,
I love Giordano's. Sorry. Stuff that
Cugino's.
pizza with cheese.
Cugino's. It's got such layer of grease on it. It tastes like grandma's. It's great.
Well, my grandma didn't make pizza, but this pizza from Giordano's is like a big ass pie, and it's stuffed with whatever you want in there. It's so good. It's so good.
I will never
It's
probably
a
have any
meal.
of those, but
It's a meal.
You don't know that.
I might be back. I don't know.
You'll be back.
No,
Work
no.
might break.
Not a chance, Nick.
Okay, never mind.
That's canceled.
Goodbye. Get out. Did you call the Uber yet? I'm kidding, Nick. All right, thanks.
Harry's taking you home.
Right. Joke's on you. All right, thanks everybody for listening and watching We Are Libertarians. Hey, if you you can see the archives of these on YouTube. If you're a YouTube person, you can go check out Miranda's sweet dress. She looks so cute in it. You can see Harry.
$25.
If you're into cute black men, then you can see Harry in his cute hat and his big muscles.
Don't forget those bearded gingers.
We've got and then we've got Nick. So we've got something for everybody. So feel free to watch us on YouTube. That is my plug for today. Thank you so much for joining us here on We Are Libertarians. Everyone behave, be nice to each other, and try not to be